In a world full of challenges and uncertainties, there are stories that lead us to reflect on the essence of faith and the power of a true connection with the divine. The journey of Enoch is one of those stories. An ordinary man with such extraordinary devotion that God himself took him away without him experiencing death. How is that possible? What does it mean to walk with God so deeply? Throughout this video, we'll explore the mysteries of Enoch's life, from his daily communion with God to the incredible event of his rapture. Prepare to uncover how his story, despite having few details in Scripture, becomes an endless source of inspiration about faith, obedience, and what it means to live a life in complete harmony with the Creator. If this invitation has already sparked your curiosity, like the video and dive into this journey of faith and transformation. Enoch is a figure surrounded by mystery and reverence, described in the Bible as someone who walked with God. The account of his life is brief, yet it holds profound significance. In a world increasingly marked by corruption and distance from God, Enoch stood out as a man of distinction. He lived in an era where most people were preoccupied with their own interests rather than seeking a connection with their Creator. However, his communion with God wasn't just a choice, it defined his entire existence. What does it mean to walk with God? This simple phrase in Scripture implies something far deeper than mere obedience. Walking with God suggests a divine closeness, a relationship built on unshakable faith, and a constant desire to please the Creator. Enoch followed this path in a world that often chose to ignore divine presence. He became an example of devotion, someone who found spiritual joy and purpose through his intimacy with God. Enoch didn't start with this level of proximity to the divine. Like any other human, he faced doubts and challenges of his time. The journey of communion with God is built step by step, and that's how Enoch began, through small, daily decisions to seek God in prayer, meditation, and obedience. Every moment of his life seemed to proclaim that, even in a turbulent world, it was possible to live in harmony with the divine. This walk is what inspires and challenges others to pursue an authentic life of faith. The biblical account describes him succinctly yet powerfully. Genesis states that Enoch walked with God, then he was no more, because God took him away. While this statement is brief, it carries a spiritual weight that resonates throughout Scripture. Hebrews highlights Enoch as an example of faith, a man who pleased God by living in complete harmony with him. Jude also acknowledges Enoch as a prophet who brought messages about divine judgment. These references demonstrate how his walk with God left an eternal mark. What makes Enoch so unique is that his life became a testament to what it means to live closely with the Creator. He proved that it's possible to transcend human limitations and find divine protection and supernatural experiences by committing to walk with God. His communion prepared him for the most extraordinary moment of his life, the rapture, an event symbolizing the reward for those who choose to live according to divine will. Enjoyed this exploration? Like the video to continue diving deeper into the fascinating journey of Enoch and the depth of his walk with God. The life of Enoch stands as a unique example in the Bible, mentioned across various books, from the Old Testament to the epistles of the New Testament. Genesis provides the foundation of his story. Enoch walked faithfully with God, then he was no more, because God took him away. A phrase so brief, yet filled with profound meaning. In a world where death was the inevitable fate of all, Enoch broke this pattern by being taken directly into the presence of the divine. This extraordinary event makes him a symbol of faith and closeness to God. Hebrews 11, known as the chapter of faith, highlights Enoch with emphasis. By faith Enoch was taken from this life, so that he did not experience death. He could not be found, because God had taken him away. This passage not only reinforces the Genesis account but also explains the reason his faith pleased God. Enoch was not chosen at random, His unwavering trust in God's goodness and sovereignty became the cornerstone of his communion with the Creator. This faith, built on daily decisions, became the defining aspect of his relationship with God. The book of Jude in the New Testament also references Enoch, but this time as a prophet. He is credited with proclaiming a message of judgment. "See, the Lord is coming with thousands upon thousands of his holy ones to judge everyone." Here, another aspect of Enoch is revealed. In addition to being an example of devotion, he carried a prophetic mission. His life wasn't merely about spiritual pursuit, but also about warning others of divine judgment. These words demonstrate that Enoch wasn't isolated but played an active role in his time. The story of Enoch, as presented in Genesis, Hebrews, and Jude, portrays a man who transcended the limitations of his era. He didn't merely walk with God, but he also received revelations that shaped our understanding of God's divine plan. Prophecies attributed to him point to the final judgment and God's return with his saints. These messages continue to resonate today, urging a deeper communion with the Creator and a life lived in obedience to his purposes. These biblical accounts position Enoch as a link between the human and the divine, a living testament that it is possible to please God even in difficult times. His life teaches that true spiritual pursuit brings revelations and rewards far beyond this earthly life. Through Enoch, we learn that God not only watches but also rewards those who seek him with all their hearts. What does it mean to live a life that pleases God? And how can this pursuit transform one's destiny? The life of Enoch invites a deep exploration of what it means to have a truly intimate relationship with the Creator. His communion with God wasn't an isolated event or fleeting experience. It was a daily practice, a constant choice to place God above all else. Enoch lived during a time marked by corruption and widespread disconnection from God, yet he chose to walk a different path. He didn't merely know God, he walked side by side with him, in a relationship that transcended human understanding. This intimacy wasn't something Enoch stumbled upon, it was built through unwavering obedience and faith, demonstrated in the choices he made throughout his life. He lived as someone who sought to understand God's will in every aspect of his existence. In a world dominated by materialism and self-reliance, Enoch found spiritual joy and purpose in surrendering to God's will. His closeness to the divine proves that obedience isn't a burden but rather a gateway to a life of profound meaning and fulfillment. Enoch became a living example of devotion that went beyond words. His life teaches that intimacy with God is a journey requiring dedication and perseverance. It's not just about following commandments, it's about pursuing a living, genuine relationship. His story shows that faith isn't just belief, it's action, a constant decision to place God at the center of everything. Every step of his spiritual walk was an expression of trust in the Creator. This narrative challenges us to consider, what does it take to achieve that same divine closeness? Enoch's communion with God proves that true faith doesn't just connect humanity to the divine but also provides protection and guidance in uncertain times. Those who walk with God, as Enoch did, aren't immune to life's difficulties but find strength and hope amid challenges. This intimacy becomes a shield against adversity and a source of joy that transcends circumstances. Even in a chaotic world, Enoch demonstrated that living in total communion with God is possible. His journey inspires those seeking a deeper connection with the Creator. It reminds us that God reveals himself to those who genuinely seek him. When there is total surrender, the reward isn't only spiritual, it transforms every area of life. To get into Enoch's story and how his walk with God inspires faith and transformation, follow the channel for more enlightening stories. Enoch's story is a powerful testament to the transformative benefits of living in close communion with God. His walk with God wasn't merely about spiritual devotion, it brought tangible outcomes that impacted his life in profound ways. From the revelation of divine mysteries to protection amidst uncertainty, Enoch's intimacy with God demonstrated the rewards of unwavering faith. This closeness offered him not only a unique perspective on the divine but also a joy that transcended worldly circumstances. One of the most striking benefits of divine proximity is the revelation of mysteries hidden from the ordinary. The Bible portrays Enoch as someone who gained insight into God's plans, including revelations about divine judgment and the coming of God with his saints. This level of understanding wasn't given arbitrarily, it was a result of his deep relationship with the Creator. Enoch's example shows that those who draw near to God are often entrusted with wisdom and knowledge beyond human comprehension. Another significant benefit is the divine protection that comes with walking closely with God. Enoch lived in a corrupt and perilous world, yet he remained untouched by the negative influences surrounding him. His life demonstrates that while walking with God doesn't eliminate life's challenges, it provides a shield that guards against destruction. Divine proximity doesn't mean a lack of trials but assures that God's presence offers strength and guidance through them. The spiritual joy Enoch experienced is another hallmark of his closeness to God. This wasn't a fleeting happiness but a profound, enduring contentment rooted in his connection with the divine. This joy reflects the fulfillment that comes from living according to God's will. For Enoch, every moment of his life carried the satisfaction of knowing he was aligned with God's purposes. Such joy is a reminder that true peace and purpose are found in intimacy with the Creator. Enoch's story also highlights how divine proximity reveals the natural and spiritual laws that govern creation. He wasn't just a passive recipient of God's wisdom, he became a channel through which these truths could inspire others. His life reminds us that those who walk closely with God have the potential to influence their communities, leaving a legacy that resonates far beyond their own time. The benefits Enoch experienced aren't confined to his story alone. His walk with God serves as an open invitation to seek this same intimacy and transformation. What mysteries could be revealed to those who choose to walk closely with God? Enoch's rapture is one of the most extraordinary events in biblical history. In a world where death was seen as the inevitable end for all, Enoch's life defied this norm as God took him directly into his presence. This moment wasn't just a historical anomaly, it became a profound symbol of the supernatural experiences reserved for those who live in unwavering faith and deep communion with the Creator. Enoch's rapture represents the ultimate reward for a life dedicated to walking with God. The phrase in Genesis, "Enoch walked faithfully with God, then he was no more, because God took him away," is as simple as it is profound. It reveals that Enoch's life wasn't merely extraordinary, it transcended physical boundaries. His rapture is a vivid reminder that spiritual realities extend far beyond human understanding. It challenges us to consider what it means to be so close to God that He Himself intervenes to bring someone into His presence. This event also bridges the temporal and the eternal. Enoch's rapture demonstrates that faith doesn't only transform the present, it shapes an eternal destiny. By being taken without facing death, Enoch became a precursor for other biblical promises, such as the transformation awaiting the faithful at the end of times. His rapture symbolizes hope, reminding us that those who walk with God can anticipate blessings beyond what the eyes can see. The rapture wasn't an isolated act but carried profound implications about God's nature and His relationship with humanity. God didn't merely observe Enoch's life from a distance, He actively participated in it. This closeness culminated in an act of divine love and reward, showing that God deeply values those who choose to live in obedience and communion with Him. Enoch's rapture is a testament to how God honors those who seek Him with sincerity. Moreover, Enoch's rapture serves as a powerful reminder that a life of faith is not just about the here and now but about eternity. His walk with God was so marked by divine presence that his ultimate fate was to bypass death and enter directly into the Creator's embrace. This narrative reinforces the idea that those who walk with God don't just experience transformation in this life but are also destined for a glorious future in His presence. Enoch's story and his rapture continue to inspire and challenge. What kind of life leads to such an extraordinary reward? What does it mean to live with faith so unshakable that the Creator intervenes in such a direct and personal way? Enoch's story is a powerful reminder that living in communion with God transcends human limits. His unwavering faith, obedience, and divine closeness serve as an inspiration for those seeking a life full of purpose and meaning. Enoch proved that walking with God opens the door to profound revelations, divine protection, and, above all, an eternal destiny that defies human understanding. What lessons can be drawn from Enoch's life for today's journey of faith? What would it mean to live with such devotion that it changes the course of one's destiny? Share your reflections in the comments, and don't forget to share this video to inspire others with this incredible story of faith and transformation. Explore the latest videos on this channel to continue uncovering stories that reveal the depths of God's plan. Until next time.